everyone, Emma here. So today's video is going to be how to draw 5 easy wreaths for your bullet journal. So the only tools you're going to need for this is a compass and a pencil, or if you want to draw around a cup or a roll of sellotape or whatever, that's cool. And we're going to need a rubber and some fine liners, black fine liners. You probably only need one for this actually. I'm probably only going to use a Pigma Micron 01. So let's get cracking. Let's zoom you in a little bit closer. Now I'm going to start off and I'm going to draw 5 circles. So the space between my compass is probably about an 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and lightly draw my circles. Make sure I leave a gap between each one. And yes, I have got obscurely long nails at the moment and they're getting on my nerves, so I am going to cut them down, well, file them down later on. Anyway, so let's get on with the 5th one. Right, so there we go. There are 5 pencil circles. Now, let's go in a bit closer again. Wrong way. Okay, so taking my 01 Pigma Micron, for our first wreath, what we're going to do is we're going to leave a gap at the bottom and a gap at the top. So around about 3/4 of an inch gap. Now we are going to follow the line, follow the curve of the circle. We're going to follow it up. Now this line does not have to be perfect, so do not worry if you cannot follow a curve well. But if you can't, a little tip is to move your paper with you as you go. And you can break the line and start again. That's absolutely fine. So there we go, there's half our first circle. And now again on the other side. Moving your paper honestly really does help with keeping that flow. So there we go. So you can see I've got a break in mine. It doesn't matter. It's all going to add to the effect. So we're going to start off by, at the top, we're going to draw 2 tiny little leaf shapes coming off the top, and they're just going to have a tiny little vein inside them. See if I can get you a tiny bit closer. Yay! Here we go. Right, now from there we're going to go and draw in some little branches. So coming off the main stem, and some I'm going to take 2 branches off, and all the while following the shape of that circle. And again, turn your paper if you feel it's going to help you. So taking that all the way down to the bottom, and then we're just going to add those little leaf shapes and a tiny little vein to the end of each branch. And honestly, your leaf shapes don't have to be perfect at all. And there we go. There's one side done. So we're going to repeat that exactly the same on the other side. but we don't want to make it completely identical. We want to make it maybe a little bit different. It's nice not to be completely symmetrical. I mean, if you want it symmetrical, you can always do that too. And another great tip, that if you do want perfect symmetry, is when you're happy with your first side, take a piece of tracing paper, go over your first design, flip it, and then you've got a wonderfully symmetrical wreath. I prefer things a little bit random. And there you go, there's our first wreath. Simple as that, quick and easy, done. Moving on. So let's go to our second wreath. Now again, we're going to leave that gap at the top and at the bottom, but this time when we draw our lines, we're not going to follow around the curve of the circle. We're going to start here and we're going to go inside the circle, outside the circle, and inside, outside, inside, outside, to a tip. So you've got a complete wiggly line. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So we're going to go in the circle, out, in, out, in, out, and leave a tip. Now we're going to add another line to this, and this is going to go against the first line. So let me just lengthen that stem a little bit more so that it comes outside of the circle. Now we're going to cross it over, so we're going to go outside this time and inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, and out. And again, same on the other side, out and in, out and in, out and in, and out. I'm sorry, I do think I'm coming down with a bad throat at the moment. I've only just got rid of one, so this is a little bit annoying, to be honest. Now, we're not going to do leaves on this side, but we're still going to draw branches, but we're going to do something a little different. So off our points here, I'm going to draw 2 little branches. And instead, we're going to do tiny circles to act as little berries. Gosh, my voice is getting appalling now. Okay, so this time we're going to go around both of the lines that we've drawn and do our little branches around there. And again, add some doubles where you feel like it, and follow the curve of those lines. We're also going to add maybe just a few inside, so we can have some pointing this way and some pointing that way. Don't have to do it in all of them, just a couple maybe. And then we'll go for it on the other side. There we go, and then we'll just add our berries on. So this is basically just little lines and little tiny circles. And there's number 2. Again, really quick, really simple. So let's move on to number 3, and then we'll do a sort of combination of the 2. So, right, so this time I'm going to follow the curve of the circle again, and I'm not going to leave a gap at the bottom. So I'm going to start sort of here, just below. Let's move it up so you can see. So where my dot is here, just below, I'm going to bring my line up to the circle, and then I'm going to follow the line of the circle. Turning my paper so that I can follow it easier. Don't worry at all if you go outside of your pencil line, it honestly doesn't matter. And I'm leaving a bigger gap this time, so I'm sort of leaving the top quarter of the circle open. Now I'm going to match that up, so I'm going to start right here, bring that up to my line so that these branches cross, and then follow the curve. So there we go. Right, now I'm going to once again put a leaf shape at the top here, but I'm going to do a bigger leaf. And again at the top here. So there's our first leaf. Then I'm going to alternate between leaves and berry branches. So I'm going to come straight off with my leaves. I'm not going to have a branch. I'm going to have one here and then one directly opposite. Then I'm going to leave a gap, have a leaf and a leaf. If you want to keep the flow of your leaves, turn your paper again, because you may just find it easier to keep your leaves going in the direction that you want them to if you turn the paper. So we'll go on the other side now. Not forgetting to leave that gap because we're going to put the berries in between. And I'm just going to go and add all my veins in before I put my berries on. Now, in between all the gaps, I'm going to start adding my berries. So just a V, simple V, and then your circles on either side of your berry stems. There we go, and there is number 3. So a nice combination of the above 2. So moving on to number 4, we're going to make this one a little bit more complex now. So this is sort of taken, it's inspiration from a Zentangle pattern, which if I remember rightly is called Flux, and I'm going to again leave gaps at the top and at the bottom. Now with the Zentangle pattern, you wouldn't draw your line first, you would just go in and draw your leaves, but we're going to draw a line to make it easier so that we have a shape to follow. So starting around here, following my line. And taking it up, and then the same on the other side. Okay, so with this pattern we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to draw a rounded leaf shape, then continuing straight on from that rounded leaf shape we're going to draw one the same on the other side, coming up and in and drawing one again so that they're really close together like that, so that the pointed part of your leaf is sitting inside the previous one. So coming from the middle, up and down. Again. And again, this is where you're turning the paper will help you keep the flow of your line. In Zentangling as well, you would do this all in one continuous line. You wouldn't be moving your pen from the paper. So this is sort of like an upside down teardrop shape. Now to finish, I'm going to take that line and just turn it into a single one like that. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. They're almost like little hearts, aren't they? There we go, so we've got both our leaves on both sides. Now we're going to decorate this a little bit and make it a little bit more pretty. So I'm going to draw a little line and then a couple of dots inside each leaf. And those little lines just following the shape of the leaf. Not drawing them straight up. I want to keep within a flow. Then we'll do the same on the other side. And this is a really simple decoration, but just completely changes the look of the wreath. Okay, so now you could leave it like that if you wanted to, or you could have a little bit more decoration. So let's go for it. On a few random ones, where you see this gap here between the leaves joining, I'm going to add a couple of tiny little circles to act as berries in between the leaves. Only on the odd one or two, just where I think that there's a big enough gap for them to sit. And then I'm also, let's see if you can show you that so you can see what I mean. Please focus. Right, so can you see those tiny little circles there? Okay. So then I'm also going to just add a couple of little branches on the odd ones that don't have anything, and then I'm going to add a blackberry to those. Break it up a little bit. Only on the odd few again, not on everyone. There we go, and there is a more complex looking but still easy to do number 4. So let's move on to number 5. Now we're going to add a flower to the centre of this one, and then again leave our gap at the top. So for our flower, this is going to be, the start of this is going to be kind of like when you're a kid and you draw a flower shape. So, you know, like you just draw your standard 5 petal flower shape, just like that. And then we're going to have a little black dot in the middle, so just like a tiny little kid's flower. Then from that, round each petal, we're going to add a pointy petal. So starting from where these petals meet and going around to the next one. And then we're going to do another petal around those. So it's going to be slightly bigger, starting from exactly the same place, still pointy, still the same shape. And there we go. We're now going to add a vein to each of those inner pointy petals, and we're going to add a couple of little dots around the centre of that sort of children's flower shape in the middle. Now just to pretty it up a bit, on the biggest outside petal, where the inside pointy petal overlaps it, I'm just going to add a little bit of stippling just to shade, so a few little dots just to show that this is in the background and this is in the foreground. There we go, so I'm done with that. So now we're going to add a leaf to either side. So because I still want to follow the curve of the circle, my leaf is going to follow the curve of the circle, and then my branch is going to come from there. So I'm going to take my leaf from the middle of the flower. It's going to be a sort of wavy leaf, and it's going to come to there like that. And then on the other side, so my point of my leaf is kind of sitting on the circle so that we've still got that flow. Now I'm going to draw a vein inside each leaf like that, and then I'm going to just add a couple of veins going outwards, alternating them on opposite sides so that it's not exactly the same. So there's our centerpiece. Now again, I'm going to leave my gap at the top, and I'm going to take my line, around and up. And again on the other side, I'm going to turn my paper now, because I didn't do that just. And turn it back. And there we go. Oh, let's get back in focus. Right, so now we're going to do a different type of leaf here. We're going to add, how should we start from here? So we're going to, where the leaf and this first branch joins, we're going to draw a line and take it inside like that. Then we're going to do one of those little tiny leaf shapes like we did in the first wreath. We're going to colour it completely in black. Now, from the halfway point between that branch coming over and crossing here, so around there, that point there, I'm going to draw my next one, and it's going to come over exactly the same, and then have my little leaf on the end. And again, halfway point, my branch is going to start, come over, and have my little leaf. And I'm going to follow that pattern until I get to the tip. But all the time I am following the curve of that branch. And as long as I'm keeping the distance the same of where I start my branches, it's going to flow lovely. Now, with my last branch, I'm not going to take it inside. I'm going to take it up and out like that. And I'm going to have my little leaf pointing upwards. And then this leaf will come off here like that. And now we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So I'm starting from here, taking him in and drawing my leaf, and then not forgetting my halfway point. And again, my last branch is going to come up and out. And there we go. So if you want to, so that this area doesn't look bare and like the branch isn't coming from underneath, you can then add a line here so that it would flow exactly as the branch would flow, and do another one here. Now for this one I've got to come behind, so I'm going to work out where would that go. So it's going to come from here, and my leaf's going to sit here. Now I can also add a few little lines, and this is just guessing where your leaf's going to be. Coming in like that. So I've still got my branch coming in from behind the flower. And that's that one complete as well. So let's zoom you out. And again. And there we go. There's all 5 wreaths. Nice and quick and easy. So I like to leave my Pigma microns to dry for a good 15 minutes before I rub any of my pencil lines out. I do this because I find if I go in straight away, the Pigma microns will either smudge if I go in extremely quickly, or they can fade. The longer you can leave them to dry before you rub out, the better. So on this top one, that should be pretty dry now. So I'm just going to go ahead and rub that one out because it's obviously been at least 15 minutes. And I'm not getting any fading on my black lines. And so there's that wreath with no pencil marks. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and subscribe down below. That lets me know that you enjoy my videos and that you'd like to see more. And if you want to leave me a comment, a nice one, that would be much appreciated. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.